Good evening, Dennis. Good evening, everybody. Nice to be back. I see it nice and clear. Thanks, Dennis. Just one question. You say you're not dual streaming. Do you perhaps, or does ACC perhaps have a link to or URL to a lap scoring monitor, or is this what we get? You're loud and clear to me, but I'm not sure why you're muted on the feed. Okay, just to give you an idea that of the circuit, as Dennis said, it's 16 corners. Slightly different to the one that I have in front of me is because the second to last corner they put in a chicane, which of course adds 2 corners. In the configuration that I'm looking at, that corner is called Europe Car.
All right, hopefully you can all hear me now. Welcome everyone. Unfortunately, I have a bit of a fan problem clicking away here. Sean, can you still hear me? I think you have gone quiet. Or perhaps
Go into the pits is before and they feed back again a few meters before they get to turn 1.
Alright, just watching some of the, as you see, Zolder is actually about to come through. You see quite a gaggle of cars here at the moment.
You have to.
Unfortunately, we're getting a bit of a breakup, I think, in the Discord.
Just getting a
with
freeze on the feed from you, Dennis.
Yeah, you seem to be breaking up a bit there, so I'm not sure if it's my end, your end. Sorry about my microphone being muted. With the hardware change all done, there's so many different settings that have to match, and obviously the microphone wasn't set correctly in here, so hopefully now it's all good and everything stays good. Right, so now I'll try and get used to the new sim, so it'll be a bit of a learning curve for us, but certainly does look beautiful. And welcome to everyone in YouTube. So we have Johan Bierkes. He is our title sponsor for the series, so you can thank the Safe Boys for this. And of course, if you have any safe requirements, you can head over to thesafeboys.com, give Johan a shout. He can help you out. You can order yourself a whatever kind of safe, whether it's for a firearm, whether it's for all your money, whatever it is, give Johan a call. And if you need a second-hand safe or you need your safe repaired, he can also do that for you. So you're very well versed in the world of safes. I'm not not too sure exactly which camera now to click on because I don't have my spare PC to double check, so I might have the wrong feed if I click on that, which is actually the wrong one. It's not the one I wanted. In the background we can see the beautiful Mustang coming towards him. I believe that is that Picky? No, that is Neil Swartz behind her. Let's see all the dirt on the track. Got the right camera eventually. Alright, so we have several drivers on track at the moment. We actually have
The quality that I'm hearing you is really every fifth word, if I'm lucky.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that is. I'm seeing everything fine on my end. I'm not sure why it's breaking up. I'm not hearing you, Sean, so maybe your connection is breaking up. I don't know if you want to just double check there.
Okay, I'm not looking because of the quality of the feed, but as I say, Apple, they did in the beginning, but it's now mostly static, and the voice is breaking up quite a lot as well.
Yeah, it's not very nice, unfortunately.
But as you say, you think this is predominantly due to Discord.
Yeah, I think it is. Discord has had its issues lately. I don't think anything is a problem on my end, because my end everything seems fine. So I'm guessing, you can at least connect and everything. It must be the connection between us, which is Discord in this case.
Yeah. I can see the Porsche that's running now, and it's a lot better, so I don't have anything. It has its hiccups, number 992, and need to go and find it.
So that is Julian Brains. He's in a temporary car
Julian
this
Brains.
week. Next week or next race, he will have his own skin loaded. He's a late joiner, so he doesn't actually have his car loaded correctly.
And I had a chat to the guys before you joined, just to identify the two Van der Westhuizens, because they both are Van der Westhuizen. Rian is number 7 in the Ford, and Rudy is number 519 in the McLaren.
The guys are getting a bit bargy. They're obviously trying their best to get their laps in. At the moment, we have Gerrit Bierkes in pole position from Jean-Louis de Toy, and the times are looking really close at the moment as well, which is fantastic to see.
Yeah, the guys that Jonathan Ben's in third, he's 0.4 of a second behind the quickest time. So the top three are really, really close.
And a nice mix of manufacturers. So in first you got a Ferrari,
Yeah.
sorry to butt in. First it's a Ferrari, then it's a McLaren, and then it's a Mercedes, and then fourth we've got a Ford. So absolutely fantastic.
Sean had the mutters, that's car number 137, the Ford. He had the mutters about the car because it wouldn't turn. They were saying there's debris all over the track while they were still in free practice. But it looks they sort of taken the foot off the throttle. They were complaining about the track being a little bit cold potentially. But it looks as though everybody managed to sort that out. Just over 4.5 minutes still to go. Chris Collison is less than half a second. So to be honest with you, third, fourth, and fifth are 0.403, 0.463, and 0.465 from Gerrit Bierkes in pole. So that gives an idea. Third, fourth, and fifth is going to be a stunning race. In amongst them is the Toy number 777, and that's only 0.02 behind Gerrit. So it's going to be a rolling start. I don't think the guys are going to start anything dramatic on the way to turn 1 for lap 1. That's what they said amongst each other. But certainly if you can get a nose ahead in turn 1, it turns right, which will put you on the inside of the corner, but it immediately turns left again, which will put you on the outside of the corner, and then you've got a long sweeping right-hander, Renault corner. So if you can just keep your position in turn 1, you might hold it all the way through turn 3.
Chris Collison has just gone up into third position as well, so splitting the top 4, making it even closer. Oh, as we see Neil heading off there, that was a bad timing to go to watch him.
Yeah.
You see our only BMW in the field is Picky.
Yeah, Neil has already got a good time in. He's in P6. So he's going to be quite happy about that, but not going to be happy to go off on the gravel with only 3 minutes to go. but certainly it's going to be an hour-long race, as Dennis said. So the guy's also saying don't do anything stupid on the first lap, because you've got an hour to get past everybody else.
We see that beautiful McLaren of Maldonado, and in the background we see the Audi of Adib. He's the only driver with an Audi. We have the Audi, we have a Lexus in the field, we have lots, well I say lots, we have a couple of Ferraris, and this is of course the fantastic looking Sim Experience Global of Stanton Augustus. We have, what other cars do we have? We have the Fords. What is Vian driving? He's in a Lamborghini. So we have Porsche, we have Audi, we have McLaren. 5 McLarens, 3 Fords by the looks of it. Just the one Audi that unluckily doesn't have a lap time yet. Jonathan is down to 5th. Emily's in 9th. So Emily's going strong. Is Marius van Wyk. Didn't he run a car that was pink and purple in one of the previous championships? Yes, he loves having his colourful cars.
Yes, you can't miss it. You get used to it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I guess that's the effect. You know, definitely run a car that looks different and stands out. People always remember it. Jan van der Veste in his BP coloured Ford also looks fantastic.
It's the number 7 car, as he said, and because I was apparently in the previous championship, I managed to get the 2 of them mixed up quite often, which I admitted at the time that I more than likely did, because I was calling the same driver in different corners at opposite ends of the track. So yeah. So Rian, car number 7, the Ford in the BP colours, as you say. Nice to recognise that one.
I want to try and jump to a decent onboard shot, but I'm not sure with the different cars which shots we can get. Because I don't have the spare piece, I can't sort of fiddle behind the scenes.
It also places you a little bit out of your comfort zone when that looks actually quite nice.
Yeah, this is the helmet cam, so this would be the view from the driver's eye, so he'll sort of lean into the corner a little bit, and it's quite nice actually. Gives you a very accurate representation of what they would be seeing in their view.
As a driver, I'd like to actually sit a little bit higher, but that's just a personal thing. Because you're looking, but it's not that far in the distance, so I suppose it's good enough. And then they've got shows you the glass panels like you have in small aircraft nowadays as well. I suppose above his right hand, that is the rear-facing camera that you can see who's behind him.
So that's the Nash. I was wondering who's in that car. Starting to see all the drivers. Qualifying is officially over, so I'm just sort of clicking on the different drivers. Our top driver is Carrot at the moment. He's pitted. Jean-Andre is in 2nd. He has pitted. Sean is in 3rd and has pitted. Right, so we have just over...
with the Ford.
We have almost 3 minutes before the time runs out. Jonathan could improve. Let's see, he's up by 0.2. Let's see if he can bring it home.
Does ACC actually allow you to complete the lap you're on?
Yes, it does. And Jonathan jumps up to 3rd. Right, so that's Jonathan. Emily is also, I believe, on a lap. She is unfortunately down on her lap. There are several drivers on a lap that are down, unfortunately. Rian van der Veste is also down on his lap. So at the moment, I don't see anyone else on a lap that could improve them.
Emily in P6 is the last person to be within a second of Gerrit Beekes in pole. Emily puts her car in 6th position, the Mercedes 0.98 behind. Oh, nice drift on there from Rian. So Emily 0.98 and behind her Neil Swartz 1.025. So that's also potentially a nice little battle that could pop up during the race.
The pity that we didn't get Adib to get a lap. I'm not sure why he hasn't done a lap, but he's at least in the service, so he should be able to race. That Audi was looking pretty rapid in the practice that we saw. Right, so there's all the results. So we have Gerrit Beekes in 1st place, Jean-Louis de Toy 2nd, Jonathan Benson 3rd, Sean Olivier 4th, Chris Collison in 5th, Emily Benz, Neil Swart, Stanton Augustus, Picky Stander, Julian Brains in 10th. That rounds up the top 10. In 11th, Rian van der Veste is in Dinesh Singh in 12th, Monet du Toit 13th, Stan Bezedner at 14th, and in 15th, Malt van Aarde. Johan Bierkes 16th, Andre Hildebrand 17th, Rudy van der Westhuizen 18th, Leon Fasaki 19th, Hilke Veronica 20th, Marius van Dijk 21st, and Adib Kamildin, because he didn't get a lap, is in 22nd. We're going to jump to a quick ad break and we'll be back shortly for a race, which will be a 60-minute race. All right, welcome back everybody. This of course is the Sim Experience GT3 World Series brought to you by thesafeboys.com. If you have any safe requirements, you can head over to thesafeboys.com and they can help you out with new safes, second-hand safes, any safe repairs. Give them a shout, they'll be able to help you out. So our series is running in ACC, which is Assetto Corsa Competizione. It is the 10-round championship, so we'll have Barcelona, Suzuka, Zolder, Kyalami, after Kyalami, Circuit of the Americas, Monza, Paul Ricard, Red Bull Ring, Imola, and Watkins Glen. That will be our tracks for the series, which should be quite interesting because there's a lot of tracks here the guys have never raced in any of our other series, so it should be exciting for the drivers. The drivers, of course, are now on their warm-up lap. I should say formation lap. Alright, so our calendar, this is Barcelona. We'll then head off to Suzuka on the 4th of August. Zolder will be the 11th of August. Kyalami the 1st of September. Circuit of the Americas will be the 15th of September. Then we head over to Monza the 22nd of September. After Monza we head over to Paul Ricard the 6th of October. Red Bull Ring will be the 13th of October. Imola the 27th of October, and the final round will be the 3rd of November for Watkins Glen in the United States. Of course, this is Barcelona. Sorry, after you. Doing that up.
Circuit de Catalunya, certainly a nice bike circuit, racing circuit as well.
Yes, and this is the layout that the cars always use, and then the bike layout, which has the fast flowing corner, is now what the cars are using again. They stopped using it because of safety reasons, but I think guys were complaining about the chicane, so for some reason the GT cars still use the chicane layout, but the Formula One's back to using the bike circuit effectively, which I think is much nicer.
Yes.
Nice to come onto the straight with a bit more speed.
Yeah, certainly feeds on very nicely. I think it's a circuit that if you're driving it for an hour, you're going to be well aware of the fact that
Yes.
you've been driving for an hour.
Well, it's a track that Formula One uses for testing for the reason that it has virtually every kind of corner on it. So if your car, if your car is going strong here, you're going to do well at every circuit. Then they break it down. If your car is good in the first sector, well, then you're going to be good at low downforce tracks. If you're good in the middle sector, if you're good in the first sector, it's high downforce. Good in the middle sector, it's low downforce. So they work out sort of roughly where the car is good, where it's not good, judging by your sector times. But if you're good in all of them, well, then you're going to be a threat for the season.
Interesting.
So nice to see the big variety of cars. And we are actually running the LFM Balance of Performance. Now, LFM is one of the most well-known series. They do various things for various sims. Their BOP, or Balance of Performance, is pretty popular. A lot of other series also use it. So we are using it as well, so drivers will be familiar with it. It's also very, very close for all the cars. As we can see, the cars don't seem to matter. It's more the driver and whichever car suits your driving style the best. Right, drivers are heading onto the main straight. It is a rolling start, so it'll be time to go any moment. Coming onto the straight, they are governed speed-wise by the sim. The sim will tell them what speed to go.
They seem to be nice and neat. I think there's a big gap.
Right, and then we've got
further
guys
down
pulling out to get everyone. I think it's 5 wide there.
I think they'll get wiser than that when they get to turn 1, but nonetheless.
So we had a bit of a change at the front. Jean did it. Oh, Herr Birkus being spun out there. Not the way you want to start. And it looks like, is that Emily Benz or is it Jonathan Benz? One of the Benz family in the Mercedes Benz. Sean Olivier also there. I'm not too sure. Oh, car's facing the wrong way. A bit of carnage at the start. It is a 60-minute race, so hopefully we'll see guys working their way back up. Not sure what's happening with Marius van Wyk, but he's shown to be in 3rd place at the moment. Is that correct? Or is it showing that he has a penalty? This is a little bit confusing for me, sort of learning the new sim. It showed he has a penalty and then it showed that he was further up. Alright, we see a bit of action on track, lots of damage to some of the cars, unfortunately. I think the drivers need to remember that it is a 60-minute race. You need to take it easy, but also you can go to the pits and repair. So, 58 minutes to go, and yet we have so much carnage already. And what a shake-up in the results at the moment. So, in 1st place, we have Jean de Toy. 2nd place, Picky Stander. In 3rd place, Monet de Toy in the Lexus. Right behind him, Rian van der Westhuizen, and then Julian Brain. So these guys avoiding all the carnage and coming through the field. I mean, that's our top 5 at the moment. That's amazing. Yeah, not good to see drivers spinning out other drivers, but yeah, not nice. Alright, so interesting field at the moment. Let's see if the guys that have had issues can recover. Of course, gives opportunities to other drivers. We have Hilke Veronica now currently in 11th place. I think that's Johan Birkus that's with him there. And that means the two of them can have a good drive tonight. Leon Pasaki, lots of support on the YouTube tonight. Hello to his supporters. Fortunately, looks like he was involved in some of the incidents at the start. A bit of damage on his car, but currently in 18th place. Good to see a Lamborghini out there. Right, so where are all our main contenders? So Chris Collison currently in 7th place. Does he have damage? Looks like he's in a bit of a battle here. Right in front of him is Emily Bence, and then it's Julian Brains in front of her. Julian seems to have fallen back slightly from Rian van der Westhuizen, and Chris's car looks like it's not damaged, so hopefully he's alright. Means he might actually be quite strong as the race progresses. And then how is our only Audi, a Deep Chameleon? How are you doing at the moment? You're in 16th, having started last. Good to see an Audi in the field. I believe that's Stanton Augustus in front of him. Go on board. This is the helmet cam. You can see exactly what the driver would be seeing. Over the curbs. Kasaki up to 17th place at the moment. Actually behind Adib at the moment as well. Who's that in front of him? Is that... It looked like Gerrit in front of him. It is actually, so he's actually been demoted a place. Gerrit is still progressing. Now, of course, the drivers that have had incidents, they could go in and pit now if they wanted to. There is no requirement as to when you need to pit. You can pit whenever you like. Your fuel requirements, you can set the fuel tanks however you like. But you are required, it's mandatory to do a pit stop, and it's mandatory to change your tires. You can do it at any stage of the race. So someone like Gerrit that has damage now, he could potentially pit now, change his tires if the tires go to the end alright, do all his repairs, and then drive back through the field, maybe with less issues as he's coming through from the back. He'll be out of sync, so maybe it'll be a bit easier. You won't have as much traffic, but then you've got to worry about managing the tires a bit more with a longer stint. But that is an option for him. If his car is, of course, damaged, and that's a good option. If it's not too badly damaged, it looks a bit dinged up, but it looks like it's handling alright. Dinesh Singh currently in 11th place. One of our McLaren drivers. Andre Hildebrandt's actually doing really good at the moment. Top 10, he's in 9th place. Mustangs looking like they are featuring quite well at the moment. In the background we have yet another Mustang. Mustangs are a fairly new car to the sim. It's the last car that was added to the sim. I think they are known for having very good horsepower, being American. I would imagine that at certain tracks these cars are going to come strong. Tracks like Monza, I would imagine the horsepower will kick in and you'll have the Mustangs running closer to the front. Ferrari's going to set the track on fire now. Yeah, the B's going to be setting everything on alight. Looking back at the other Mustang there. Very different with this sim, especially also streaming in a single feed. It's a little bit different, and I feel like I don't have everything at my fingertips like I would like to. Sean, is your audio alright at the moment?
I can hear you, Dennis, but let me just go back to the video feed. The video feed seems better now, but it's really, there's times that for 15 seconds it just stops dead, and I'm looking at the same car standing still in the same corner. So I'm afraid that the value add that I can add to the commentary is not going to be very good. The video feed on the YouTube channel is good. Let me just actually get that going again. I can see that well, so it's definitely me going via Discord through what you are putting out, but it's very broken. A lot better now, so, but as I say, it has its moments, so for me to be commentating on that, I would be doing an injustice to the race.
While you were talking there, you sounded fine, but I guess it's up and down at the moment.
Yeah. It's back now again, and I can see Genre's lime green car going through what looks like a set of S's, which is great. And let's just hope it sticks. I'll stick around, and good to say as well that the YouTube feed is not far behind. But if I do disappear, it's not because I'm not paying attention. It's just because that which I'm seeing, and we've had this before, that the feed through Discord is not playing up, or is playing up and is not really worth much. But certainly a lot better now than what it was a little while back.
Quite a lot of action happening, but the field is very mixed up, so kind of waiting for it to settle down. And obviously with a 60-minute race, things will eventually settle. Well, I would assume so.
Who's that? Morris with the pink and purple car that decides to take the gravel route.
That's Morris there, yeah.
That's number 77, I think. Nice to see also one of the skins. There's the Audi, so you had wondered whether it would come out. That's Adib Kamaldin. So he is out, and I must say that Audi's looking good. He does a nice overtaking move up the inside. While these two fight it out, and the Ford Mustang there, the Milwaukee that you'll see on the bonnet, that's a tool manufacturing company. So I just happen to know they were, many years ago, when I was still doing trackside commentary, I met a few chicks that were racing bikes here, and that's a derogatory term, a few ladies that were racing motorcycles here at Swartkops, and they were sponsored by Milwaukee Tools. So that you see this car coming to us now, that's Milwaukee Tools.
And in the background we have the B catching up slowly. And just behind him we have Stan Bezedno, so he's slowly making his way forward. The car's obviously not badly damaged enough to hamper him.
Yeah, I heard you mention it, but I didn't have the video at that stage, or the visuals at that stage, that you mentioned that he could go in for tyres if he wanted to go take the car in for repairs, but looks like he's elected not to, and we've just passed through 10 minutes of this 1 hour race, and for some reason now things seem to be better than what they were at the start of the race, so the feed is looking good now. And the actual visuals on the left. What happened to the two Mercedes, Emily and Jonathan?
I think they were caught out at the incident at the start. I think Emily was actually up there for a while. I'm not sure what happened to her, but Jonathan was definitely caught out at the start, and I think he's currently in the pits, and so is Emily.
Yeah, because Emily qualified 6th, and I think Jonathan was 3rd or 4th. So certainly they qualified very well, which means they're quick. And at the time of the incident, I didn't have the visuals to see it, but certainly can see the repercussions of that, with a lot of cars out of position. Gerrit being the big loser from 1st to 12th, and Emily and Jonathan that were also in the strong top 10. Ooh, those curbs they're like the sausage curbs at Swartkops. They really are quite vicious, so you don't want to be driving over them like that.
No.
This is a lovely straight with the grandstands either side of it. Well, the pit complex probably to the one side, then grandstand.
Look at the top end of this McLaren in the slipstream. Wow, giving Gerrit a hard time there. I thought he was going to go for the move. Bit hard on the brakes there.
Yeah, I think just braking a little bit too late for that corner. So the guys were saying that you actually, when you approach a corner and you're following a car, that you do get actually sucked in, is the term they use to that car, because the slipstreaming effect is in play. So you've got to keep in mind that you don't, in a case like that, not to use your ordinary brake marker. You'll have to be on the brakes a fraction earlier, because you're going to be going into the corner a little bit faster than what you normally do.
Yeah. Now we seem to have lost a few of our drivers now. Still learning how everything works here. So some of the drivers are shown as out. So Sean Olafia is out. Of course, we've got the two bench drivers in the pit. So I don't know if they have bad damage and they've just pitted, or if they've just parked the car. I'm not too sure. It'd be a shame if they have decided to pack it in after the incident. It is a 60-minute race, so you can always make it up.
Yeah, Yilka is another one that does. Well, now he's gone back up. Where's he disappeared to now? Has he disappeared completely? He was also there just above the Benz cars.
I'm not sure if he just disconnected or something because his car, the
He's
speed
completely
suddenly
now.
changed, yeah. And his time is
Yes.
not moving, so I'm presuming he's disconnected. You are able to reconnect in the sim, so if you do disconnect, you can reconnect. Being a 60-minute race, it's maybe worth it. You'll probably lose a lap or two. Vian is slowly progressing thanks to all the issues around him and just driving nice. He's actually up to 15th at the moment, so he's at least making his way forward. And thanks
There's
for the
one
YouTube
brand
comments
that-
to everyone.
Definitely, when I was listening to one brand that we just saw that I don't think we mentioned is the Lexus. So that's also the first time. Oh, there's those curbs are Vus. Who was that? 53 or 33?
That was Vian, yeah.
Yeah. Now those curbs are going to kill you if you're going to take them at that speed and that sideways. It certainly is going to break your car.
I know this Ferrari has a really fantastic camera angle that we can use. I just can't find it now.
But certainly the rear view camera from Gerrit, he's got nothing to be worried about behind him,
He's clear
but he's
there,
making up distance. Yeah.
And of course the car
He's
in
a
front of
long
him
way
is
close.
Adib, and Adib has actually been quite quick in the practice rounds. He was definitely looking very, very strong in this Audi. So let's see how he goes at the moment. Who's in front of him? That's Stanton Augustus in front of him. Of course, Adib started last, which was 22nd. He's up to 9th already. I think the carnage at the start being last maybe helped him. And I think that car is probably the most nimble out of all the cars. It doesn't have the top end, but it's very nimble. So certainly on a track like this, it's going to be quite a strong car. I think he will be quite consistent in that car.
Yeah, what's nice about that car is that the wheels are, if you look at it, there's no overhang ahead of or behind the wheels. So the wheels are actually right on the corners of the car. So the grip is probably optimal for a car like that. If you look at the Fords, typically they'll have quite a bit of car ahead of the front wheels. So the weight and the grip there, but they're being so muscle bound and so heavy that'll probably force them down. They might be likely to understeer, but I think the Audi will be well balanced with the wheels on all the corners of the car and very little overhang.
Yeah, also you have three different configurations in this. So we're looking at the Porsche, that's a rear-engined rear-wheel drive. Then we've got the Ferraris that are rear drive but mid-engined, and then we've got the Mustang, which is rear drive but front-engined. So all those configurations affect how the cars handle as well.
Yeah, normally makes for an interesting series. Jean-Ray now leading by a lap, would you believe, from Picky Standard, Chris Collison. Chris is only 4 seconds behind Picky, so that's probably where the interesting battle is on at the moment, is for second and third, and not too far behind that. Now Picky, I see, is only 14 seconds behind Jean-Ray, so he's probably popped on over the finish line. So Chris Collison, as I said, 3.6 seconds behind him. So second and third, that looks as though that can be quite interesting. And then behind that, and I've got to get them right, the Ford is Rion in the BP colours, one of the Van der Westhuyzens. Only a second behind him is Morne de Toy in the Lexus. So here's the BP colour Ford, that's number 7, and then we should see there's the Lexus coming along behind him. So that could be an interesting battle as well. So if you look at the times between cars, it is potentially quite an interesting race almost throughout the field. And a big pity that I think Emily and Jonathan have parked those cars, because the laps are just adding along as the other cars go by. And they are now 6 and 7, Emily 6 and Jonathan 7. So I think it's fair to assume that they are out of this race.
Yeah, sadly, yeah.
Which is a pity, because both of them are pretty quick. We've seen them before. But yes, the gaps between cars is keeping this race interesting, and hopefully everybody will stick it out right to the end with 42.5 minutes still to go.
Now, earlier it was saying that Jean de Toy was a lap ahead, but now it's saying he's 15 seconds ahead, so I'm not sure why it was showing a lap. I was wondering, how has he got a lap already?
Yeah, that must have been, there it goes again. There it shows Picky as a lap down. I think maybe as Jean-Ray crosses the line, until Picky maybe gets across the line, but that's not technically speaking correct. But we'll just keep an eye on it. There it's back to normal again. So 16 seconds at Picky's behind Jean-Ray. And Chris Collison now less than 2 seconds behind Picky. So that could be very interesting for second and third. They'll probably have, if we could have rear view camera, if you can jump on board with Picky or on board with Chris. This is with Gerrit, and he's catching up to Adib Hamaldin. That's the Audi then in front of him. So no, that's not the Audi. It certainly, yes, it is.
Audi, yes.
Yeah, the back end looked different to what I expected, but yes, it is the Audi, and that's going to be an interesting battle pretty soon as well. So Adib's pedaling along very merrily, considering he started last to be up in 9th. Okay, he was helped by the mishap on the first lap, but you've got to be in it to win it. You've got to be there, and the Flying Bumblebee is also not going to be the happiest camper in the caravan park, having been involved with that mishap on lap 1. So a lot of work to do for Gerrit Beukes to get it back. You put the car on pole, and then I think Jean-Ray actually got the best start for the best that I did see, and then it froze up. But it looks as though Jean-Ray got a demon start off the line. Remember, this is a rolling start. And then, unknowns to me, it was all hell broke loose, and the field got jumbled up a bit.
So the bees is getting ready to sting by the looks of it.
Okay, right, so the guys certainly are, it's nice to see that there's a good following on the YouTube feed as well. Somebody telling Versaghi he can drive it like a 4x4. I think he might have been the car that was over the curbing, and it certainly showed. Yeah, there's a deep.
Gerrit wants his dinner tonight. We have a running joke about him having to win to get his dinner. Ooh, a deep sideways.
He was a bit fast into that corner, and the chicane is a lot worse. That's the chicane we were talking about that they add for this formula, but it certainly does. If you go into it too fast, the second portion of the chicane is on you so quickly that to turn the car in, you really have to turn it in, and you have to have slowed down enough to actually turn in. And I think Adib was a fraction quick there, which means that Gerrit is now right behind him, and he's going to be pushing very, very hard soon. Tries it on the outside. That's that never-ending sweep to the right. Turn 3, I think it is, and he might just pedal past him as he does. Yes.
Yeah, done.
Who's ahead of the 3 of them? It's Swart, Stanton, and Julian. Those 3 seem to be having a nice battle. Is that Julian that just went off there? Yes,
Stanton,
I think it is.
No, Stanton. Julian's in front. He's in the Porsche.
The other way around. I've got them the right way around on the monitor, but I'm commentating them the wrong way around. So Julian, then Stanton, then I forget, is Nico Swartz? I can't remember.
Neil Swartz.
Neil Swartz, there we go. They seem to be having a very nice battle.
Yeah, Stanton seemed to have made a mistake, but I think he was looking a bit stronger than them, then made a bit of a mistake and maybe let them past. I'm pretty sure he was up ahead, at least of one of these cars. I don't know if he was just ahead of Neil or what, but currently sitting behind them in 8th.
And the fact that they're so close is allowing Gerrit to catch up to them quite quickly. Let's see, the gap between Gerrit and Stanton is 2.2 seconds. Just keep that in mind, because there you see the Bumblebee coming along and it's dragging Adib Hamaldin with him. So 9th and 10th are going to be with 6th, 7th and 8th position pretty soon, I reckon. This is the main straight, and it's really a very nice main straight, because if you look there, as you see them go through now, here's the pits feeding in, and that white line is important. If you're in the pits and you're getting back onto the track, don't cross the white line until you pass the end of it, because you're going to be penalized. But yes, look at these 3, and I think what's happening is with Stanton fighting the Ford ahead of him, Julian's actually getting a bit of a break. So Julian's built up almost a full second lead from the 2 cars behind him. A bit of a drift there from Swartz. A nice lime green and black car. Oh, big challenge there, but he's not able to get past him is Stanton. So that's number 44 Ferrari. Nice to see the different brands, the different manufacturers, and as you said, the engines in the front, the engines in the rear, mid-mounted engines, which of course changes the balance and how you set up. Somebody was that Adib? Yeah, there was a corner that arrived that he wasn't aware of.
Well, he wanted to go the wrong way. He was like, no, I want to go that way.
Yeah, which is, you'll see it immediately where he was actually quite close to Gerrit. You'll now see that Stanton is 5.5 seconds ahead of him. So Gerrit, in all the fun of the fair, we missed it, has gotten past Stanton Augustus. So where I was saying keep an eye on the time, Gerrit is now up to 8th position and he's less than a second behind Neil. So you see the Bumblebee behind the lime green car, and that might change pretty quickly. Gerrit just has to drive a nice, smooth. I really like this image on the left saying who's driving it, what brand. Even though the badges are quite small, you can use a bit of imagination, and it's got the car number and the gap between drivers. So that's almost as good as a lap scoring monitor. So now that Discord has sorted itself out, I'm in my element again, because this is, that Ferrari looks so nice in the yellow and black. But quarter of a second, but I think the pass is made. As you see, yes, indeed it is, and it was all clean, the mighty yellow machine, so he goes past. And what's happening to the battle behind Gerrit? Julian Brains is now still ahead of him, so this is a Porsche that's in view now. This is the Reardon Racing Porsche of Julian Brains, and he's got Mornay de Toy ahead of him, but that's quite long, 2 and a bit seconds. We say long, but if you have a good lap, then 2 and a bit seconds isn't that long either, and considering there's 35 minutes still to go plus. So a lot of things can and probably will still happen, but Gerrit is fighting back the hard way. Stanton only 0.6 seconds behind Swartz, so it's Ferrari chasing down the Ford. Here's that battle I was talking about. It's Julian, Gerrit, Neil Swartz, Stanton Augustus, the 4 of them, and how far back is Adib? He's 5 seconds, 5.5 seconds behind Stanton, so yeah, that off didn't help him either.
We actually have quite a close battle at the front. The gap is a lot bigger than we realize, being 14 seconds, but it was 15 seconds. So Chris is slowly bringing it down. Of course, there's still 35 minutes to go. And with the pit stops, anything can happen. You could gain time, lose time. So Chris is currently lapping faster than Jean-Andre de Toy in the lead. We've got Gerrit Bierkes catching, so we could have quite a mix-up here. We could have Gerrit eventually getting up to 3rd, possibly, with 35 minutes to go. Anything is possible.
Yeah, he's caught up quite a few positions. He's only got 0.3 of a second, then he catches up to Julian. I'm not sure what the difference in lap times are between Gerrit and Julian, but there you can see it. Oh, there's a nice battle. He's passed Julian, I think, now. So yes, Gerrit up to 6th.
Now, Gerrit's last lap was a 147.2. Mornay in front of him was a 148.9. So he is slowly catching.
1.7 seconds.
And then a car that's in front of him, which is Rian van der Westhuizen, and that's also a 148.6. And the car in 3rd was also a 148.1. Then it's the car in 2nd was a 145.3. Then it's the car in 1st was a 146.1. So Chris was 0.8 faster than the leader. Chris is currently the pace setter on track.
But look at this gaggle here. I think that pink and purple car, that's Marius. He's in 16th and he's quite a few laps down. He does the right thing, gets off the racing line, lets the quicker guys through. Well done, Marius. Good bit of driving. And then immediately as he exits the corner, he gets to the right again, shows them that he's not going to be in their way, and then continues with his own race. You don't want to be rear-ended, so if you're going to get off the racing line, make your intentions clear quite early, and there's just an example of how that can be done.
We still have quite a few battles throughout the field. Stan Bezuidenhout currently in 15th, so he's chasing down Vian Fasaki. There's quite a big gap between them, unfortunately. 16 seconds.
Yeah. But anything, as you said, with pit stops still to come, it looks as though these guys are playing the safe game, because one would expect now with 32 minutes to go. I don't know if there are different compounds of tyres available.
No, there's only one compound.
One compound there. Then the other thing that you could have done is potentially started, if you've done practice and your homework well enough, determine what your tyre degradation's like, then potentially started with a light fuel load and gone as fast as you possibly could and drive the whack out of the tyres, and then go in for an early stop and take on more fuel to get you to the end of the race. There's the first stop. That's Neil Swartz. That's car number 33, and he's stopped from, where's he, in 10th position. He's got Dinesh Singh 28 seconds behind him, or that's what it was. So per stop there, it goes up, it goes down. That means you take on fuel, you take on 4 tyres, and he's out again. And he's lost the position to Dinesh, but he's got to get out there nicely, as we said, stay. Oh, he's crossed the white line. Oh, he's got back to it. So will he be forgiven? That'll be a good question.
It was slightly over.
It wasn't all 4 wheels, but I'm not sure how strict the sim is going to be on him. But nonetheless, Neil is the first one to blink, and that's virtually on the halfway mark. He at 31 minutes, he was out of the pits with 31 minutes to go. He was out of the pits with fuel taken on, if he did, and a full set of rubber to complete the race for the other half an hour of this race. The track should be well rubbered in now as well, so the grip should be quite good. Here's
camera
trying to fend off Julian Brains. Julian's all over his rearview mirror there, and Mornay just holding the racing line. He's a little bit off the apex there as he takes that corner, but I think he's making the car a little bit wider, or trying to make the car a little bit wider than what it is, which he's entitled to. Ooh, Julian, you're not doing yourself any favours by going that far off the racing line and picking up all the dirty rubber, and having that, you're going to need at least another 200-300 metres to get rid of it. But nonetheless, nice battle that's raging there. Looking ahead from Julian Brains' car, and he sees the car of Mornay du Toit in front of him, car number 23. The Lexus that we were mentioning earlier. The camera decides to have a look at what looks like a dune side.
Strange placement for a camera.
Yes. And while we've been goggling along, Gerrit is up into 4th position and 5.7 seconds behind Rian van der Westhuizen in the number 7 Ford. There's the Milwaukee tools. There you see it quite nice and clearly. Also on the side. Car number 72, that's Andre Hildebrandt. He's chosen that skin to put on the car. The 992 is Julian Brains, and he's in quite a nice battle there between. Stanton has come back and he's dragged. Now Deeba's a little bit further back. He was 5 seconds. Are they into the pits?
They are.
Yes, indeed they are. Oh, Julian wants to get past, but I should imagine there's a pit lane speed limit, but the line is much later, so maybe whoever's ahead of Julian in the Lexus was Mornay, was probably a little bit slow for his liking, and he wanted to get past him. But so also Gerrit into, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars that I can see. There's the BP car as well. So very, very interesting that everybody's about playing it safe, going half race distance. And here comes Jean-Ray du Toit, car number 777. An interesting thing would have been if we could have had a marker on the guy's name, or potentially on the monitor, that if he's been in and out of the pits or not. I see there is something indicating the 1. That probably means you've gone into the pits once, potentially. I'll have to ask the fundies that know the software better than I do, whether that's because Perky Stubner is now in the lead, Panton Augustus is 2nd, and Adib Khildin is 3rd, and I don't think any of them have been in for tyres yet. So maybe the green mark next to your number indicates that you've been into the pits.
Why is there a red thing there with du Toit? What has happened with du Toit?
Didn't he cross the line?
Ooh, Julian Brains got a drive through.
Yes. That's the one that we said, I think, is the server going to be forgiving the sim? And I think that's potentially the answer to that. Or why has Julian got to drive through though?
Well,
The other one is a stop-go, I should imagine.
we
for
did see
Mornay.
them dive into the pits. Maybe he dived in a bit late and was deemed to have cut over the line by the entrance into the pits.
So Julian gets a drive-through, which means you just drive through the pits at the pit lane speed. But Mornay actually gets a stop-go penalty of 30 seconds. Do I read that right?
That looks correct, yeah.
So that means he's got to come in at his pit box, stationary for 30 seconds, and then go again. And in that time, you're not allowed to take on fuel or tires. You can take it on afterwards. I'm not sure in this sim, but normally they don't allow them to do any work on the car or take on any fuel or any rubber during a stop-go penalty. That's bad news for Julian because the drive-through is going to put him back. I'm not sure how far Stan Mercedes is behind him, but certainly it's going to add 20 seconds to your race. That specific lap that you do come and do the drive-through. I'm not sure what the rules say. Once you receive the notification, how many laps you have to conform to the penalty.
There he goes.
There it comes in.
Oh, into the pit wall.
Oh, that's a bit sharp. That's 23. That's the stop-go penalty of Mornay du Toit. There's Julian as well. There's the Milwaukee car. That's the Ford. The Lexus that comes in now, that's Mornay du Toit. He's got the stop-go of 30 seconds. Now, I don't want to sit and time it, but it's going to look like forever.
Now, possibly
I think
he
those are the...
didn't turn his limiter on in time, or maybe he came in too fast. I think you can have it automated where it does the limiter for you, but you still, I think, need to have the correct speed coming in. You can't just drive in flat out. Maybe he came in too fast, and that's what the penalty was for, and possibly the same with Julian.
Yeah, and they still say he's sitting there, 30 seconds is long.
Yeah, so as things have played out, we have Zolder du Toit back into the lead, Chris Collison in second. Gap is only 6 seconds now, so Chris has managed to bring the gap down to 6 seconds from 14 seconds. It's game on for Chris.
Yeah.
He was the pace setter, 8/10 of a second a lap, last lap or two. So I think if we take maybe 10 to 15 minutes, he'll bring the gap right down.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And also, let's see, everybody, if that green marker is the thing to go by, then everybody has been in and out of the pits for fuel and or tires. So that is not a factor anymore. Mornay still has the stop-go next to his name, so I'm not sure that he's back on track yet. And Julian Brain still has the drive-through next to his name, so I'm not sure if that penalty has been served yet either.
Yeah, he's in the pits now, according to this. There we go, coming into the pits.
Yeah, he's driving through at a sedate pace, so that red line next to his name should disappear shortly.
We see Mornay du Toit is there again, so maybe he keeps doing something wrong on the exit.
Yeah.
Because he's got another stop-go, 30-second stop-go. But once again, he came in very aggressive. Maybe it's because of his entry being in such an aggressive nature and driving into the walls. They don't like that. Let's see if Julian's clears. Yep, there we go, cleared.
Yeah. Yeah, and funny, while he was serving the penalty, it had a little minute P to the left of the red signal. But the stop-go 30-second is still there for Mornay. So whatever, as you said, whatever he's doing, the server doesn't like it and just keeps the penalty in place. So Julian's back on track, and how far did he go down? He's all the way down to 9th position, and until he crosses the line, then we'll get what his gap is to Adib Khamildin. And Adib in the Audi is only less than a second behind Stanton, so I'm not sure whether Stanton had a mishap. Let's just wait for the lap scoring monitor for the times to catch up. Chris Collison down to 6.8 seconds behind Zolder, so that's first and second. Pucky, we're waiting for his time to come up as well in the BMW in 3rd position. How far he's back? We've been goggling along. Meanwhile, the Flying Bumblebee is up into 4th So not too bad a pit stop, and 14.3 seconds behind Picky Standard with 22 minutes to go. So there's the Bumblebee flying along the Ferrari, and a little bit of an isolated race, if anything, if you are now the time's disappeared. The last time I looked, I think I said it was 14 seconds behind. So that's pretty much you racing yourself and your own consistency.
Yeah, a bit surprised. I think it's because of the incident at the start that, a lot of the main contenders have been split up. We had Parrott obviously pushed back and he would have been at the front. We had Zolder managing to survive and get through cleanly. Chris Collison, I think, was also affected but managed to get his way back up to second. And we know the Brains family, the Benz family were both affected by the start. I think Sean Olivier might have been the driver that just tagged the rear end of someone, and he ended up going out as a result as well. So yeah, quite a few of the drivers being affected by it.
Hats off to everybody that has stayed on and tried to recover. Carrot, I think, is probably the biggest recoverer, if there is such a word. He's up into 4th position. He has a chance still of catching Picky if he drives consistently. Here comes the Picky Standard's BMW now, and I should imagine we'll get the split once he crosses the line. I think he's crossed the line already, but still for some reason we don't have the gap that he is behind Chris Collison. Do you have the last lap times of Picky and Chris there, Dennis?
The last lap for Picky was a 1:47.3 and the one for Chris was a 45.4, so Chris is 2 seconds faster almost.
Okay, and then to Genre, that's we've got to remember the 45.4, and Genre, what's his times doing?
Genre
Probably
at
also
the moment,
45 something.
last lap was a 45.2, so actually slightly faster than Chris, managing to
Okay, so
just ever so slightly extend the gap, although it has come down again, maybe the last sector or so.
yeah, 6.3 seconds with 20 minutes to go. So it just a slight mistake, 6 seconds goes by very quickly. Then we had a very, very quick, very close-up view of the door of the Audi. And Adib, he's hung in there. He's right up there with Stanton, but looks a bit less than a second behind Stanton. So I don't know if Stanton's car isn't balanced the way that he would like it to be, but certainly Adib is less than a second behind him. That's for 7th and 8th. Stanton in the Ferrari in 7th position, and Adib Khanaldin in the Audi number 119 in 8th position. Julian Brains, looks like everybody has served their penalties now, and the system has recognized them. Morna has dropped down, although he served the penalty, he's dropped down to 3 laps behind, and he's a full lap behind Morna de Toy. Now I think Morna was the one that was that into the wall. So they certainly have, and we see P's next to their name, so I think that is potentially cars that are out or that have served penalties, but then that should be behind Julian as well. So not quite sure what, maybe that's just a warning that if you track limits, I'm not sure what, but why Emily and Jonathan should have the P next to their cars, I don't know, because they've been off the track for 20 plus laps already.
Looks like Stanton in this sector of the track is able to put a slight gap on the deep, which is quite strange because I thought, the Audi being the most nimble would be the strongest in the final sector. Ferrari definitely seems to get going nicely though. Puts his foot down, pulls a bit of a gap.
Yeah. As I said before, a lovely circuit with the pits on the one side, the main grandstand on the other, then followed by more grandstand before you get into turn 1. So use the curb on the left-hand side of the straight so that you can sling it into the corner from as wide an angle, and then you take the apex, change direction again, and then you go into this long, continuous right-handed sweep, and just hope that you're just gentle enough on the throttle to get through the corner all in one piece, but heavy enough that you don't lose speed to your competitor behind you.
Who's in the pits?
Stanton has a deep right behind him.
Rian van der Westhuizen doing a late pit stop by the looks of things.
I wonder if he's going to take on New Rubber, because he was in 6th position and 14 seconds ahead of Stanton. Or maybe he's running out of fuel, who knows?
Looks
There
like
the car goes.
I
We
think
just
he's
saw it
just
go up.
exited. I think he's exited. So something was wrong there.
So I went in for repairs. So he's Stanton in 6th, Adib in 7th, Julian in 8th. So that seems to say Neil in 5th position. He's had a good race on the quiet. We haven't mentioned Neil much, and he's in 5th position. Although a lap behind Gerrit. And Gerrit chasing Picky down, but with only 17 minutes to go, I think it's a little bit difficult. But then again, anything can and would happen. Neil Swartz, that lime green car that you can't miss. The number 33 Ford in 5th position.
Yeah, it looks like it's a bit of a race of attrition at the moment. You know, we're down to, well, it's almost at 16, but 2 of those drivers are in the pits. So we're actually down to 14 drivers out of 22. It looks like Rian van der Westhuizen is the latest victim.
I think we had 21 starters.
22,
So,
22 that started, yeah.
22, yeah, one wasn't on. To be quite honest, I think both the Van der Westhuizen cars are out. Rian and Rudy.
Correct, yeah, correct.
So whether it's a disconnect, whether it was an accident, but they're not even showing on the monitor, so that they're more than likely disconnected completely. So there's Vian Versaghi. That's the one that took a curb quite viciously, and the gallery said, well, he can drive it like a 4x4. So
also, having started from the back of the grid and at the moment currently in 13th place, so he's in the points. I believe that is 3 points for him.
Yeah, so points we saw earlier just before the racing starts, and you get points all the way down to 15th, but you have to finish, I think. So in this case, we'll get points all the way down to 14th, because Norris is still on track. But Vian Versaghi, he's getting a nice bit of airtime here. So he's going very, very well in the baby blue car. There's a gaggle coming up behind him, but I think he's gotten past. This is number 36, that's Stan Mercedes' car. So Stan also still going strong and in it in the top 10.
Another one that qualified near the back, but because he's just kept it clean, stayed on track, he's up to 10th place already.
Yeah, valuable points to be had. So how far is Stan behind? Well, it's not Dean Ash that's in front of him, although on as far as who's where in the point scoring positions, Stan goes thundering by, and I think he went past Vian there. So here you see the diffuser, the back end of Stan's car. The fact that it's yellow makes it stand out quite well. If you don't know what a diffuser is, it's an aerodynamic addition to the car, which actually acts like an upside down wing, and the idea is to suck the car down to the track and give additional grip. So I'm trying to think who it was now. Was it in the Lotus team? Many years ago, first thought of the idea of putting an upside down
Colin Chapman, I think.
shape.
Yeah, it was Colin Chapman who did it.
Yes, and they hid it away from everybody, and then everybody was very interested why they put a blanket around the car or over the car, whatever it was, until they found out what it was, and then everybody did it, which evened up the playing fields again.
Was it them that did the fan on the car as well? I can't remember if that was them or if that was one of the other teams.
Oh, it looked terrible. I remember what you're talking about. But I think that was banned outright. They didn't even give that a chance to appear.
Apparently it gave quite a performance boost though.
I'm trying to think now if it was Williams or McLaren or one of the teams. They actually put a CVT gearbox in a Formula One car, which meant that you could have the car running at the optimum revs throughout the race, whether you're going into a corner or whatever it would be at. I think in those days the optimum revs were 7,200. Sounded terrible, but yeah, that was also banned. But yes, CVT technology was at Formula One level many years ago. You can actually go and look it up on Google and you'll find the article there. But of course they wanted to. The one thing that to me, and I can understand technology going ahead, the one thing I miss is actually still having a physical gear shift lever. It's fine having pedals and all that sort of thing, and that advances into the car that you drive, but I still like the days where the guys had to actually physically change gears, even if it's just a push forward or a pull back. It's not actually going through the box, as it were. It's forward to change down the gears and backwards to change up in the gears. But at least you still have to think about taking one hand off the steering wheel, which is, in my mind, real racing. But nonetheless, I'm an old foggy that comes from days gone by, Formula Fords and Formula Vs and those sort of things, and the West Bank V8s, and I'm going back a while when they were still real gear change cars. I'm just trying to think now. This is Adib, and Adib is in 7th, also one of those, and he's only a second. Who was off there?
That was on the but I think he's just moving over to allow them past because he's in 11th.
Yes. So Adib is still only a second behind Stanton. So they seem to be having this battle all along throughout this race. We spoke about this, I think, half an hour ago, and we've only got 11 and a half minutes to go. Ooh, there was a bit of a moment for Adib. Bit of a tank slapper which he managed to catch on that last corner.
Well,
and
when we changed over to this, Adib was actually being passed by Stanton. So I think at some point he challenged. Obviously got up and made a move, and then Stanton obviously got past as we were changing over to see what was happening.
Yeah, because Stanton now up into 6th. Neil Swartz is in 5th. Gerrit Beekers up into 4th. 6 seconds behind Picky, but Picky is going along well, and it's only 11 minutes to go. So I think 6 seconds also that Chris Collison, but that's been pretty constant, that Chris Collison's been behind Jean-Ray Dutoy. So I think the Boeing Brigade is going to, in the McLaren, is pretty much going to take it, unless something untoward should happen.
We haven't even seen him much because he's been so far out front. He's actually been in the lead the whole race. We've hardly seen him at all. But yeah, Jean-Ray Dutoy is having a fantastic race.
I haven't seen him or Chris. I've got no idea even what their cars look like.
Well, this is Jean-Ray in the Savage Racing McLaren. That's the McLaren 720S. And Chris
So he's
Collison,
got one that's a nice lime green, but less of somebody went to town with a paintbrush with black on it.
yes.
So he's a neater version of the lime green. Nice looking car.
And then Chris has got the same colours as Stanton. It's the Sim Experience Global colours. That's our endurance colours.
It's a fading in of the orange and then black at the back.
Yeah, fantastic looking, more red. Yeah, it's Ferrari red.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, depends on what my screen displays it as, but yes, Ferrari red. That's a nice car, and then it goes over into a few stripes, and then the black rear end,
And then,
and then
third,
yellow
we've got the
on the diffuser and the wing.
BMW of Picky. He's got a standard car. Obviously, he changed his car just before this race had started. He was going to pick a different car, decided he would rather change cars, and obviously didn't have time to make a skin for it. So hopefully next round he'll have his skin loaded.
That's the BMW racing colours.
Yes, that's the standard colours,
racing colour. Yeah. So yeah, not much. Well, if I say not much, Adib is down to less than a second now behind Stanton. So there's Gerrit Beekers. He's got 4.8 seconds to catch Picky Standard. So if we can find Adib and or Stanton, then that's about the one thing that is still out on track. That is, Adib is now only half a second behind Stanton. So he's certainly making a comeback.
Yeah, and we have Sumire in the comments asking if the B will be able to catch the podium. Well, I think there's enough time with 8.5 minutes to go. They'll still have to finish the lap they're on, so it's probably 9 minutes roughly, 9 and a bit. So that's probably 6 laps, maybe 5 laps. Probably I'd say 5 laps. So yeah, 5 laps to catch a 4-second gap is possible. So at the moment, Gerrit's lap times are a 1:46.0. Picky was a 1:46.3, so I think Picky needs to make a mistake or two, or Gerrit needs to find a few more tenths, and then it definitely will be possible, but otherwise I think he's going to run out of time.
Yeah. Is that Audi that I mentioned coming along now? And that's Adib catching up to Stanton.
Ooh,
and then
that
they've
was
got
very
the
deep
black
there.
marker.
Stanton missed his brake marker and he missed the turning point there. Missed the apex by probably a meter or two.
So now he's got an Audi all over the rear wing mirrors. This is the straight, luckily. So I should imagine the back marker is that Mornay will get out of the way. not going to make it to turn one. Look how they use all of the track and then some to get to the extreme left to turn it into the corner. Then it changes direction. And yeah, you've got to just hold on because the track goes, as a driver, it's going right, and right, this continuous sweep. And then once you get out of the sweep again, then you can consider it. But certainly that's not a place to try and overtake, is during the sweep. If you were going to do it, you should have done it at turn one. But then it feeds back again. So very interesting what can happen on the circuit. The Barcelona, Catalonia. Then they've got Repsol, which is, well, a long sweeping hairpin. Then they've got a hairpin which used to be called Seat. I'm not sure what the corner names are nowadays. But then there's a 90-degree to the left. Then a sweeping 90-degree right-hander Kamsa. So we wait for them. Then there's quite a long straight again, which gives you a chance. But this circuit again, the one place where I should expect that they might do something is when they get to the what used to be called Europe car, the chicane, which they employ for this form of racing, and then that feeds into the sweep that goes into the straight.
Just a little bit of information. I was saying that Carrot needs to either find a bit of time or Quickie needs to lose a bit of time. Carrot has definitely found a bit of time on the last lap. He did a 45.5 and Quickie did a 46.4. So the gap did come down by a second. It's almost 3 seconds now. So
yeah,
it is possible at that rate.
He's got to catch him by there's 6 minutes to go and 3 seconds. So he's got to catch him by half a second per minute. Sounds stupid, but that's what it boils down to. He's got to consistently be half a second quicker than Picky per lap.
I think Picky at the moment is on for a slowish lap, judging by his delta that I can see on the server app. I think Carrot is only a fraction of his time, so I think Carrot is going to take a bit of time off him here. It looks like Picky has lost 1.7 seconds on this lap already. So there is Carrot in the background. He's right there with him. 2.2 seconds.
And this might be down to driving styles, remaining tyre wear. With 5 minutes to go, have you used the rubber more conservatively? Do you have more grip remaining? Are your tyres hot compared to your competitor? But I think Gerrit also, the Bumblebee with the enemy, as it were, in sight, is a different beast than if you, like I was reporting earlier, he was racing pretty much in isolation. Now you can see Picky, and that'll change the vision out of that helmet very definitely.
Speaking of the helmet, let's do a helmet cam.
So you can actually see the guys have a vision of their own lap time. So they've got a good idea whether, when they cross the finish line, whether it was a good lap or a bad lap. It tells you what lap you're on. There you can also see above the steering wheel what gear change or what gear they're on. And then there are other buttons which I should imagine you can set brake bias to the front, to the rear, that sort of thing. Quite a complicated, well, not complicated, but quite a few settings on the steering wheel as well. But I think by now, in an endurance race, you would have pretty much have set everything that you wanted to. Let's have a look at this bridge go over the top, and then see it appear in that race cam rearview mirror just above the right-hand side of the steering wheel. I'm intrigued by all of that. There you can see also the attachment, probably of the Hans device. Well, that's probably just the attachment for the belts.
I think that's the belts, yeah.
Yeah, the Hans device is of course attached. The helmet attaches to the Hans device, which is attached to your shoulders. Missed the mark there, but it's got it. A little bit quick into that corner, so he gives up half a car length again, but he's right back at him now. Now we've got a drone footage. Well, now we look out the back of the car, Picky's car, over the wing of the M Motorsport coloured BMW, and he sticks to the line, so it looks like that BMW actually hauls butt compared to the Ferrari down the straight.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive because we've seen how the Ferrari pulls away from the Audi, so yeah, the BMW looking like it's maybe just his setup is a low downforce setup, but definitely got lots of legs.
In the corners, though, it looks again as if the Ferrari catches him quite easily. So as you say, low downforce, quick through the straight, but where you need downforce through the corners, that's where the Ferrari catches up to him again. So this is an interesting back. What's happened between Deeb and Stanton? They still only separated by half a second. A little bit of middle of the road driving there from Picky, which he's entitled to do. Yeah, he sticks to his line that he's taken, as long as you don't weave. Oh, there the back end steps out of the BMW, and I think with the BMW, that was, I think, self-induced. The BMW was out to the one side, and Gerrit just said, "Thank you very much, I'll take the other side." It would be interesting to see if I'm in time to see it on the YouTube feed. And I'm waiting for it. If you hear silence from me, it's because I'm keeping an eye on it. And maybe it's...
Listen to yourself on YouTube.
No, I've got that muted, thank goodness.
Just don't answer your own questions that way.
So yeah, as I said, I'm just looking at the well, it's not a replay, it's the YouTube, which is a few seconds behind. And Gerrit was right there with him. It's taking a little bit longer, delay is a bit too much. But Gerrit is speeding along now merrily, and he's all of a sudden put 4.4 seconds. Yeah, the BMW actually tried to come back into the road after having drifted to the right, and in coming back into the road, it actually connected Gerrit on the BMW's left-hand side, but Gerrit's right-hand side, and Gerrit was already there and passed, as it were. So a mistake by the BMW, so Picky is down into fourth, but still going strong and a long way ahead of Stanton, and now all of a sudden Stanton is a full second ahead of Adib. So whether there's a mistake having been made, yes, Vian staying out of the way from, who was it that was passed?
The two bench drivers are back on track.
Maybe they're just out there for the fun of the fair now. They're 28 and 29 laps. And if anything, Emily's going to go home saying, I beat the old man, because she's 29 laps down, and Jonathan, he's got a drive-through penalty as Jonathan, so he's definitely going to end up behind Emily.
And I believe it's almost the last lap, so this comes across the line. This will then be the final lap.
Yeah, as he crosses with 26 seconds to go. So there's the less splattered lime green car, the McLaren, and it's a very nice color scheme. Number 777, many series ago, I nicknamed that the Boeing Brigade, and it's back to winning ways. Is Gendre, and going very well. He certainly, once he, as I said, I didn't see the mishap in the start, but once he got the lead, he was unchallenged after that. Chris Collison came to within, I think it was consistently about 6. He's got it down to 4 seconds, but you're not going to catch up 4 seconds in a lap on Gendre de Toy, so I think that's pretty much settled. And Gerrit, yes, Sumeri, he did manage to grab a podium position towards the end. But it was a good battle, and it was well fought, and I think just Picky drove himself into a racing incident, which gave Gerrit that podium 3rd position. And if that's the way they're going to finish, then that's about it. Emily's still going, and Jonathan still has a drive-through pending against his name, so Emily's going to finish. Now the question is, 28 laps down, are you considered to be a finisher of the race? And do you get that point?
You're still on track, so you should be able to, yeah.
I know back in the day in MSA racing days, you had to finish, I think, 75% of the laps of the race leader, which is certainly Emily's not going to do, but that doesn't matter. She certainly is there still running. It's taken away, so I think Jonathan has done the drive-through. So he's still a lap behind her. So this for the checkered flag. Yes, indeed.
It comes across the line to take round 1 victory. Chris will take 2nd place. Gerrit will take 3rd place. So a good comeback drive for Gerrit. Which is saying a lot for the series. I think, if you can have a bad meeting and still get a podium, then you're definitely going to be a contender.
Yes. And Picky as well, well driven, and into 4th place. Adib, my goodness, what happened to Stanton and Adib? Because Adib is in 5th and Stanton in 6th by almost a second, so we missed that as well. Are they over the line yet?
Don't think so.
No, there goes Gerrit now for 3rd. So that's going to be an interesting one. Then we're waiting for Picky. There's Picky's BMW. So he's going to come across the line for 4th position. There's 3rd, there's 4th. Then it's up to the Audi of Adib Hamaldin. Now there it drops back to where it was. Maybe that was just telemetry mishap. It's got Stanton Augustus in 5th and Adib only 0.8 of a second behind Stanton. So there they are, Stanton in 5th and Adib in 6th position. But Adib's not letting him go. I tell you what, he's still having a go back at him. So maybe they've swapped and swapped back again. And the Audi is potentially nimble through the corners, whereas Stanton's Ferrari is quick in the straighter bits. Last corner, so Stanton's going to take 5th, Adib in 6th. That's well driven, Adib, if you consider the fact he started last.
Yeah, very, very well done. And there we have the results. So Jean Toy taking the victory. Romkus Collison, Gerrit Beekers, Picky Stander, Stanton Augustus, Rian van der Westhuizen, Adib Chameleon, Julian Brains, Dinesh Singh, Dan Bezuidenhout, Andre Hildebrandt, Neil Swartz, Johan Beekers, Rudy van der Westhuizen. And the names don't actually line up with what I'm seeing here, so I'm getting a bit confused by that. But we're going to just jump to a quick ad break and we'll be back shortly for our interviews with the top 3 drivers. So stay tuned. We'll see you in a moment. So everyone, didn't mean to come back. Go back to an ad very quickly. All right, welcome back everyone. This time is for real. Sorry about that little hiccup there. This, of course, is the Sim Experience SA GT3 World Series brought to you by the Safe Boys. We are joined by our top 3 drivers for the round, which are Zolder de Toy, Chris Collison, and Gerrit Beukers. Let's start with Zolder de Toy. Zolder, bit of an incident at the start. Unfortunately, a lot of guys being involved in that, but you managed to stay clear of it and ended up having quite an easy race, although towards the end it looked like Chris might challenge you. And Gerrit was also starting to come strong towards the end. Were you quite comfortable? Were you just backing it off at the end? Or how was the race for you? Was it quite a simple race or was it quite stressful?
No, it was quite boring at the start. I think if it wasn't for the turn 1 incident, it would have been a pretty good race. I knew Chris had insane pace, and if he got clear air, I would never catch him. I would never see him again. So, I mean, he got a fantastic recovery drive, so did Gerrit. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that in turn 1 what happened, because I think it would have been a pretty good race. But no, I wasn't letting off. My tires I just lost focus, and my tires just weren't in the operating window anymore, and Chris was just catching me with the second lap.
All right, then to Chris Collison, well done on your second place. It was quite a recovery drive, and it was looking like at one point you were going to catch Zolder. Before the pit stops happened, you were catching him around about 0.8 of a second a lap, so we thought maybe after the pits you'd actually have enough time to catch, but you just didn't seem to make any progress in the latter half of the race. How was your race? Did you have problems at the end, or were your tires maybe just not the same, or was there a different strategy? Fuel-wise, what was the difference?
Well, at the start of the race, basically things went on in front of me and I had to drive around them. I was lucky to avoid any damage of my own, but I think I ended up back down in about 15th. It was just a recovery drive from there, but I really enjoyed it. So I got to drive through the pack. You can't give someone as fast as Zolder that much of a lead and think you've got any chance in hell of catching him, because he's just too good. But it was great fun. I don't think I'd have caught him. I gave him my best shot. I thought I was still catching in that second stint, but not as quickly as I needed to, basically. There was traffic involved as well, and so there was some fluctuations up and down. But no, congratulations to him. He absolutely deserved it, and to Gerrit for the 3rd place as well, after being even further back than I was.
Thanks, Chris. Then Gerrit, what a drive from you. Also a great drive. So yourself and Chris having really, really wonderful recovery drives. Unfortunately, being involved in an incident at the start, your car looked a bit secondhand. I was worried that you might have to do a lot of repairs, which would have been obviously a lot of time in the pits. And we did see a couple of guys pit, unfortunately for damage and maybe just not coming out because of it. How was your drive? Was the car damaged after that? You were obviously driving with a bit of, I guess, a point to prove after that, but it was a great drive, and nonetheless you managed to get back onto the podium.
Yeah, I got it. So. Yeah, it was about a minute's worth of damage on the car. So the car was quite badly damaged in the beginning. But yeah, as soon as I got used to what the car wanted after damage, the steering wheel was a bit skew. I could up my pace a little bit, and I didn't think I was going to catch Picky, but I think he had some tire woes, so I could catch up to him, and yeah, It's just is what it is, the turn one incident.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, you've got to be in it to win it, and you've got to avoid the incidents. And you unfortunately got caught up in the incident, but you managed to at least make the most of it and still get back to the podium. So congratulations on that, and hopefully the rest of the championship goes a bit cleaner for everyone. But I think the championship should be quite close. I know the three of you guys seem to be quite fast. There's maybe one or two other guys that could challenge you guys. But it's definitely going to be close. And I think when you guys have the chance to have a clean start and everything goes well, it's going to be a very close race. Then, Sean, would you like to ask the drivers any questions?
No, I think pretty much all done, well, answered by the drivers themselves. And two of them, Chris and Gerrit, having great comeback drives. Well done to you guys. And nice to see, and that's what I was actually going to ask. Well, let me ask it to Chris. With such a nice big field of more than 20 drivers, it must have been a lot of hard work getting back onto the podium from where you did end up after the turn one incident.
Well, there was some overtaking to be done, and obviously there's back markers as well. But I have to say that everybody under a blue flag that I saw was fantastic. Moved out of the way, made it really quite easy, and didn't particularly influence any outcome in the race. Yeah, everyone played fair. It was good fun. Nice to see a lot of cars on the track. Yep. And it bodes well for the future, because I think had there not been those couple of incidents at the start, that would have been a hell of a tight race up front. And there's some other guys as well not here. I think Jonathan was very quick, Neil Schwartz was very fast, Emily was showing some good pace, Sean Olivier is always pretty quick. So I think we've got some good races to come.
Bodes well for the championship to come, as Dennis also said. So hopefully we get a few more joining us. And Gerrit and Chris and John Ray, you're going to have other men and ladies competing for the podium in races to come.
All right, and just do a final question for Jean-Ray, because you are the race winner. Jean-Ray, going forward, how are you feeling? You definitely seem to have good pace in the sim, and you seem to like the cars. You were our champion the last time we did GT3s, I believe, in the R-Factor series. So obviously GT3s is a series you are quite comfortable with. Are you feeling confident for the championship, or is it just too early to say?
Yeah, I think it's a bit early to say. I think setup is everything in this game, and getting your tires in the right window. So we'll see, and I think every track will benefit a different car. So I don't think one person will win all the tracks, but I think that's going to make it quite exciting. So I'm excited.
Great stuff. Then I'm going to say goodbye to all our drivers. I'm just going to move you out. So I'll just drop you to the room below us. So thank you, and congratulations to everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
All right, so thanks to all our drivers for the interviews. Of course, that brings us to our calendar. So next round will be Suzuka, which will be on the 4th of August. That should be quite an interesting circuit, a bit different to Barcelona. It's definitely fast and flowing. I think the S's at the start is definitely quite a challenging part of the track. It's certainly my favorite part of the track. Obviously, Degner 1, Degner 2, we spoke about that in one of our last podcasts. The history behind that is quite fascinating, but also very interesting corners. The hairpin that follows it as well, also very tricky, very, very tight, slightly banked. I think it's going to be a track, it's regarded as a driver's circuit, so it could push certain drivers to the front. I think it's a slightly longer circuit as well. As far as I know, it's a bit longer than this. I think it's about a 7-kilometer circuit, if memory serves correctly. So it could bring slightly different results. It could also suit different cars more. There's a long straight, so it might bring the cars with more horsepower, like the Mustang, to the front. I think it's sweeping corners, maybe sector 1, where the Audi might be strong, but then it might struggle in some of the others. So we could see a slight swing depending on the cars. That could also make a difference, and depending on the drivers. Sean, what do you think is going to be the outcome going to Suzuka?
You took the words out of my mouth. Because he didn't end up on the podium, but also one of the comeback drive, well, not a comeback drive, he started stone last, but ended up in the top 5, was Adib Khamaldin in the Audi. So who knows, maybe in races to come, that Audi is going to be a factor, which on the tighter circuits, which don't require the top end speed, that Audi might handle very, very well and surprise a few people. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. And we've got no idea what the Mercedes are going to be like, because Jonathan and Emily were out.
Yeah.
So a lot of things to look forward to in races to come.
Exactly. Well, the next one should be quite exciting. So until then, have a great week. Remember to head over to safeboys.com if you have any safe requirements. You can always give Johan a shout. He can help you out with new safes, old safes, any kind of safe help that you need. And we will see you at the next race, which will be on the 4th of August. Until then, we do have an endurance race next weekend, so you're welcome to join us for that as well. That's going to be an R Factor. That'll be a 4-hour race. So it'd be nice if you could join us for that. It is an earlier stream, so we will be starting at, I think, 3 p.m., going through till 7 p.m. So until then, have a good week. And if you don't join us for the next one, then we'll see you on the 4th of August for the next round of the GT3 World Series.
Good night,
everyone.
everybody.